Hello all, welcome to Abhiram Ias Academy. Today we are going to discuss a cover article on Hmpv, that is human metapneumovirus. Let us go through the article. So we are going to discuss all these, that is what is Hmpv, who are the vulnerable populations, and what are the historical underpinnings of Hmpv, and we are going to see different genuses and what are the symptoms, what is the treatment, is there any vaccine, who are the vulnerable populations, and what are the preventive measures we have to take, and why is it so difficult to produce vaccine for Hmpv, and what is the current status in China and India, and what is the health ministry's response to this. So what is Hmpv? Hmpv is basically a respiratory virus that will infect both upper and lower tracts of our respiratory system, that is both upper and lower tract of lungs, and it will infect all the ages, and it belongs to the Pneumoviridae family. We all know there is domain, kingdom, phylum, class, family, genus and species. So it belongs to Pneumoviridae family, and it is closely related to the sister genus RSV, that is respiratory syncytial virus. Okay, let us look at brief background of Hmpv. So in 1950s itself, the virus has started circulating as per the serological studies, and the scientist who discovered this is Bernadette von den Hogen. Bernadette von den Hogen. He is a Dutch scientist and he discovered this in 2001. And usually it presents itself as a common cold itself, but in vulnerable sections like children or elderly, there can be severe symptoms. This occurs usually during winter and also during late fall and early spring. So we can see severe illnesses in some vulnerable sections. Who are they? Basically, they are children under 5, elderly, and also some immunocompromised individuals. Who are immunocompromised individuals? The patients who are undergoing cancer treatment, and also those who underwent organ transplant, and any kind of immunodeficiency disorders, and untreated HIV cases. These are immunocompromised individuals. So in organ transplant cases, the body has to accept the new organ, so the immune system should not fight the organ as a foreign one. So usually they will be suppressing of immune system response in organ transplant cases. And historical underpinnings. Let us have a look at the historical underpinnings. In 1950s, we all seen serological studies have said it has been circulating since 1950s itself. And in 2001, it was discovered by this Dutch scientist. And in 2003, global community has also recognized this and began conducting epidemiological studies. Okay, and it was identified as the common respiratory causes, common cause of respiratory infections. And then in 2010s, we see research has begun at molecular biology level, and also vaccines and antiviral treatments have begun. Then in 2016, it was identified as second most common respiratory cause after its sister genus RSV. Okay, especially when the children under 5 have developed some unexplained respiratory severe illnesses, this was identified as the second most common cause in 2016. And now in 2024, we see a rise in cases in China, especially young children are getting hospitalized, and this has raised global awareness also, especially post-COVID. There has been heightened awareness among global community on all the pandemics and epidemics. Present situation is there has been ongoing research and it is being closely monitored by public health authorities. And also we have to focus more on preventive measures because there is no vaccine yet. So Pneumoviridae family, and what are the genuses within this family? So there is orthopneumovirus and metapneumovirus. So what does ortho mean? Ortho is anything that is signifying typical form of virus, that is its usual form. And what does meta signify? Meta is a latest variant of species. So it signifies some upgraded version of the existing orthopneumovirus. So what are the different types of orthopneumovirus? They are human orthopneumoviruses, also called as HRSV, human respiratory syncytial virus. Similarly, we have cattle. For cattle, we have bovine orthopneumovirus, and in mice in lab settings for research purpose, we have murine orthopneumovirus. And then Among the metapneumoviruses, we have HMPV, that is human metapneumovirus, and also AMPV, that is avian, which will affect the birds. Then what are the symptoms? They are usually similar to cold itself. It will present 3 to 6 days after the exposure. And what are the symptoms? Fever, cough, sore throat, and nasal congestion will be there, that is nose blocks will be there, and there will be shortness of breath also. It's also called as wheezing. What is wheezing? Due to the inflammation in the aerial pathways, there will be narrowness in the pathways. So when the air enters and comes out, it will lead to some vibrations also. These vibrations will produce a whistle high pitched sound that is called as wheezing. And we also have fatigue as a symptom, that means extreme weakness in the body. And what is the treatment for this? In normal cases, rest, hydration, and medications for pain and fever, and also nasal decongestants like Otrivin can be enough. If the air is dry also, there will be more nasal decongestion. So to avoid that, we have to humidify the air also. In severe cases, we can see oxygen therapy, that is supplemental oxygen supply to the patient, and hospitalization to handle any emergency cases, and bronchodilators are used. These are nothing but medications which relax the air passageways, and inhaled corticosteroids, which are usually used for asthma patients. They will reduce the inflammation in the airways. Next, preventive measures. What are the preventive measures? Usually, hand hygiene has to be followed. You have to frequently wash your hands and avoid close contact with those who develop some symptoms, and regularly you have to disinfect the surfaces which you touch frequently. Okay, what does respiratory etiquette mean? You have to cover your face with the mask, and also cover your face whenever you sneeze or cough with your elbow. Are there any vaccines? Not yet. The research is still ongoing for combination vaccines, which is under trial. Combination of what? Both RSV and HMPV vaccines is undergoing trials. And why is it so difficult? Because of frequent mutations. How does viruses evade the immune system? So basically they will follow some mechanisms like hiding their identity, blocking the immune signals, and mimicking the host molecules, and also shielding the genetic material by replication within the host cell. So how do they hide their identity? Basically, the surface proteins, so if this is the virus, these are the surface proteins. They will be of different shapes. Okay, so these are the surface proteins which will frequently change. Frequent variation of these surface proteins makes it difficult to identify the virus, and usually we find this in influenza type of viruses. Some viruses block the immune signals like in hepatitis C. So they will disrupt the interferon pathways. So interferons are the proteins which send the signals regarding the virus arrival to the immune system. So they will block the interferon pathways like in hepatitis C, and they can also mimic the host molecules. For example, proteins resembling host immune cells will be produced by the virus. So immune system will have some type of cells, and the virus also produces similar proteins. We can see this in pox viruses like smallpox and all. Another thing is shielding the genetic material because of replication within the host cell. This is found in coronavirus. Okay. Why is it difficult to produce vaccine? Because of high mutation like in HIV, and also intracellular replication, that is which will kill the host also. If we fight the virus and kill it, it will also kill the host because the virus is within the host cell itself. This can be seen in hepatitis C virus and animal reservoirs. Usually, if there are human reservoirs, if we vaccinate all the human population, we can eliminate the virus. But if there are animal reservoirs, the virus can simply jump onto the animals and come back whenever the time is right. So this can be seen in Zika virus. China sees surge in cases. So we have seen December 2024, there is increasing hospitalization in China, and there are some terms like test positivity rate and hospitalization rate. So what is test positivity rate? So if there are some group of respiratory illness individuals and we try to conduct test among them, we will get some percentage of confirmed HMPV cases. So that percentage is nothing but test positivity rate. So it is 6.2% in China right now, and comparing to India's second wave, which is roughly 18%. Okay, so we can compare this to this. So that is the level of test positivity. Then we have hospitalization rate. So there is some percentage of confirmed cases, and among them, whoever requires hospitalization is nothing but the hospitalization rate. So it is the percentage of confirmed cases requiring admission into hospitals. So right now this is 5.4% in China. What about the cases in India? In Bengaluru, we see two cases, one baby boy and one baby girl. The baby girl is 3 months old and she was recently discharged, whereas the baby boy is still undergoing treatment. Then we have another case in Ahmedabad, who is an 80-year-old man, and in Nagpur there are two suspected cases. So how did the health ministry respond to this? Health ministry has issued an advisory to the states also for enhanced public surveillance, and it assured that there is no need of panic. The virus has been always there earlier also, and we are monitoring the situation closely, and the ministry assures that situation is still under control. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Abhiram Ias Academy.